talk about something that I have brought before the Board of County Commissioners. This is regarding the advisory vote. But first, let me give you some background. If you recall, recently, the city of Kootenai opened up a new urban renewal district called the Health Corridor. You may know that I also ran for the position of a trustee for the hospital board a year ago and lost. Now let me give you some background. This is the way I see this situation. The hospital wants to do a $100 million expansion. They want the city of Coeur d'Alene to improve the infrastructure, the city infrastructure around the actual hospital. It's a big lift. The city of Coeur d'Alene doesn't want to pay for it all. So what do? They create a URD. The URD is now legally authorized to siphon off money from every other taxing authority to pay for those improvements, those city improvements. All right? The county alone is going to cough up $14 million over the next 20 years to pay for that city infrastructure. How many of you are county property taxpayers? All right? A portion of your money is going to go for city infrastructure. How many of you are NIC property taxpayers? A portion of your money is going to go to pay for city infrastructure. I don't think that's right. I really don't think that's right. So what I did is I found a statute that I don't think many people knew about. It allows the Board of County Commissioners to put in front of all voters in Kootenai County an initiative or a ballot question. I approached them individually and I said, would you support a proposal for a ballot initiative that basically reads, do you support the recently created Health Corridor URD created by the city of Coeur d'Alene? Everybody gets to vote on it. Everybody gets to vote on it. Now, it is an advisory vote only. So the city of Coeur d'Alene will likely ignore what people say and they'll move forward, which is fine. We will then have a record of what we want or don't want. So I talked to each commissioner individually. When I first came up with the idea, they said, great idea, let's run with it. A couple weeks go by, I actually submitted a letter to the editor that was posted as a My Turn article. It was back in December. Since that time, we've had two of the commissioners softening on their position of let's go after it. I don't understand the softening. Maybe they went home, talked to their wives, they slept on it, they rethought it. What happened is they talked to the mayor. They talked to three of them. And the mayor said, don't have an advisory vote. The decision's been made. Thank you very much. Well, do you realize that the cities last year alone, 2019, collected $11.6 million from the other taxing authorities to pay for city infrastructure? The county's portion of that is over $3 million. That's not right. It's not right. So, I have been talking to our commissioners. I want them to put it on the ballot. They have to make a decision by mid-March, late March, for the primary in May. Leslie Duncan is for the advisory vote. So we need one more commissioner. And we can have an advisory vote where we all get to say in a $500 million, I don't know what to call it. It's a $100 million hospital expansion, $300 million private development for hospital space. It's $127 million of infrastructure. It's over $500 million, and I don't think anybody has had the opportunity to weigh in on it. Now, some of the excuses people were telling me why we don't want to do this is because it's a done deal. The decision's been made. One elected official said, the horse is out of the barn. Now, I don't own a horse, but if my horse got out of the barn, I'd go get it and put it back in the barn. I know my wife is telling me to chase after the chickens all the time because they're always getting out, and I'm out in the middle of the night going to get the chickens. So that's BS. It's not a dumb decision. Okay? Second, what is another good excuse that they come up? Oh, the political conflict between the county and the cities. We don't want to create any political conflict. Well, when someone reaches in your pocket and asks for $14 million over the next 20 years, you know, by the way, it's already taken $3.5 million out of your pocket every single year. Yes, we have a conflict. I think a big conflict. Another issue that some people will argue is it's an advisory vote, Steve. It's not mandatory. They don't have to do it. That's right. They don't have to. But let's put it on the record what we, the people, want or don't want. That's all I want. And they can continue to ignore us, which they will. I want to go up and talk to Bill and Chris and say, you know, we can continue to be nice with the cities, but do you really think they're going to stop? Do you really think they're going to want to give up that cash flow stream? Maybe if we go up there and we ask them nicely, oh, please don't do this anymore. You really think they're going to stop? Another excuse that they use, that they say, Steve, if you don't like it, talk to the legislator. We followed every statute, and they did. They followed it to the T. But I can also follow a statute. The statute says the county can have an advisory vote. So if you don't like that, mayors, talk to your legislator. Now, I'm trying not to get angry, and I'm trying to keep this level-headed. But I want you guys to challenge me. Am I crazy? Is this wrong? So if there's anybody out there who doesn't think an advisory vote is necessary, I want to hear from you now or later, but I want to hear your argument. Is there anybody against the advisory vote? Okay, what we need to do next is put some pressure on our elected officials, the two commissioners in particular, but I also want you to copy Leslie. Call them, write them, email them, tell them that you want an advisory vote on the May 20 election. They've talked to 3 mayors and they think they're done. 3 mayors who are getting over $3 million a year to fund city infrastructure. I would like to get 300 people saying, no, I want an advisory vote. Put it on the May election. Any questions?
I have one.
Yes.
I was at the meeting where the city council voted this in, and Mr. Gookin actually made the most cogent argument against it, saying that there was no blight that required this, and there was no economic reason, because the hospital had just finished testifying that their revenues in the last few years have increased 102%. But I was surprised to see Mr. English, Dan English, sitting in the city council. Is he not a member of the Ignite CDA board?
Yep, and so is Mayor Whitmire.
Well, Mayor Whitmire recused himself, to his credit. Mr. English did not.
Well, I think Meyer, I'm not speaking with authority here, but I understand Mr. Whitmire recused himself because he owns property in the actual URD.
Okay.
So he had an economic
A direct
interest
economic.
that he wanted to recuse himself from.
But the city council was voting to put tax money into a board that then, an unelected board, that then the unelected board members would have the latitude to spend. One of those board members was.
And it goes on, and it goes on. They created the district, and once the district's created, the actual agency, which is Ignite, is the agency, then takes those marching orders, marches forward. And it's kind of ironic. This is another thing that just kind of irritates me. Back in 13, 14, I went to the CDA 2020 stuff, right? And everybody said, okay, we're gonna have a whiteboard exercise and everybody dream about what you'd like to see. And everybody was writing bike paths and this and that and everything. And I raised my hand and I said, how are we gonna pay for this? And the response was, oh, don't worry about that now. This is just an exercise to dream up what we can have. And after being shut down twice, I stopped asking the question. So then, fast forward several years, they actually gave me their official notice in November of this last year, 19. They adopted it in December of 19. So they gave us a 1 month to evaluate it. Now, I will acknowledge, I knew this was going on, and shame on me for not being more diligent, more upfront. That's on me. But I think it's ridiculous that the county continues to allow the city to pickpocket county property taxpayers. It's gotta stop.
I asked them to do that.
Steve, I think you have a question over here, Mr. Andy.
Well, so Scott Hoskins is the Ignite CDA board chairman,
I believe that's correct.
and he works for Kootenai Health.
Yes, he
Is
does.
that, okay. Are there any other Kootenai Health employees?
Well, if you remember, there used to be a board of trustee, Nick Harmon, was on the hospital trustee, but he lost the election with me. And he was sitting on the hospital board, and he sits on the URD board.
Steve,
Yes.
I'm not so sure that Amy Evans isn't also involved directly somehow.
That may be the case, and really, I don't want to get sidetracked. You know, we can talk about the eminent domain issue, we can talk about conflicts, we can talk a lot about a lot of things. But the issue is, should we as citizens of Kootenai County have an opportunity to have our voices heard? Yes or no?
Yes.
Absolutely. And for the mayors to say, no, you don't, and county commissioners don't do that, is just BS. Yes.
Well, we've been fighting this for years, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, and we should support you. If you wanna come, I know you're busy, but we've got a little group that meets Tuesday morning at 10. You're welcome to come and talk to us. You're welcome to work with us, and I hope everybody in this room helps you out.
Thank you. I'd be happy to come to that. I'm meeting with the North Idaho Pachyderms, I think, in a couple weeks. If there are other groups, I met with another organization just a few weeks ago. I'd be happy to come and explain in more detail. I don't want to dominate the conversation here, but we can go into the history, the dollars, how it works, what's going on, answer more questions. So if you do have a group that you'd like to
Every
speak to-
Tuesday.
Okay.
You don't even need to worry about it. If you wake up on Tuesday morning, be there by 10.
Where's that, Wayne?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Tuesday, okay. I've got some cards here, I'll pass a few out.
I'd like to actually to see just a flash poll here, show of hands. Who here is in favor of an advisory vote? Raise your hand.
All right, that's
And
10 out.
who here is opposed to an advisory vote? Raise your hand. All right, very good. I think we have consensus. And did you have a question?
No,
Steve?
it's just a comment that,
Steve? We have a question over here.
one of the things that is really effective for the rural community is for you to come out to the county in the rural areas, like, you know, like at Flats Grange.
I'd love to do that.
I can help try to get that set up. I know that over on the east side, there are certain people over there that really hate this, whole racket. And you're gonna find different places, to be able to present that
That's what I think,
correctly.
and that's why I was thinking I was going crazy, because I was hearing some of my fellow elected officials saying, Steve, it's a done deal, don't go up this
The
trade.
Sherman bubble. Mr. Thompson?
I think I have a rather simple solution. Would you please post both county commissioners' cell phone numbers on this? Everybody get a copy of the guidelines. Straight up. That's a simple solution. You don't have to go anywhere.
Okay. That's you want the phone numbers or their email addresses or?
I'll send out an email to the committee with both of those. All right.
Steve, what's the deadline to get that on the ballot?
Well, Leslie and I were talking about this just a few minutes ago. The deadline is gonna be mid to late March, but we would like to have a vote of the commissioners sometime in mid to late February. So I wanna put a pressure on them, try to get it approved by the commissioners in February. And then if that doesn't happen, March comes, and then we dial it up a little bit. The one thing I want every one of you guys to ask a commissioner, we have 2 of them running for election this year. Chris Filios and Bill Brooks. They're gonna come ask for your vote. Ask them why they think you're smart enough to vote for them, but not smart enough to vote for an advisory vote. Everywhere they go, ask them that question. And this is not, I'm not disparaging Bill or Chris, right? Not at all. Chris is a colleague of mine, I respect him, he's got a good mind, he's a smart man, he's trying to do the right things. Bill Brooks, I don't know very well, but he's a smart man as well. This is not personal, this is not an attack on them, but they are wrong, okay? So we have to make sure that they understand how we feel. Thank you.
Thank you very much.